There's a lovely moment in cinematic history that marks a particular change in society. The James Bond films, with one character represented by different actors over more than 5 decades, are a vivid record of societal norms and of change. In all the early James Bond movies, the world's best-known spy wore a hat, a dark trilby hat made by Lock & Company of St James's Street in London. In film after film, Sean Connery, then George Lazenby, then Roger Moore, casually tossed the hat onto the hook of a hat stand in that inevitable stock scene when he enters Moneypenny's office. The hat toss was as distinctive a motif as the martini shaken, not stirred, or the name is Bond, James Bond, or the technical briefing by Q, or the famous guitar-plucked Monty Norman theme. Another distinctive repeating motif across all films since the first in 1962 is the opening credits sequence. Filmed through a gun barrel, Bond walks across the screen, turns towards the camera, and fires his gun. It's a simple sequence and very similar in every film, but a significant change occurred in 1973 when Bond, for the first time, did not wear a hat. You see, in the 1960s, it was unthinkable for a gentleman to go hatless, especially for someone like Ian Fleming, the Eton-educated author of the James Bond novels. But by the 1970s, it had become fashionable to go hatless, and to stay up to date for audiences, Bond had to adapt. So Diamonds Are Forever is the last film where the opening gun barrel sequence features Bond with his head covered. The hat did survive in the hat stand motif in Moneypenny's office for another 12 years, but in A View to a Kill, Bond enters the office with a hat, hangs it on the hat stand, and later leaves the office without it. He is never seen with one again. So let's talk about change. At Being Strategy, change is the theme of most of our assignments. We are all aware of the volume and increasing rate of change and just how difficult change can be, sometimes unnecessarily difficult. The start of the year, January and February, is a great time to prepare for and build resilience for the inevitable changes ahead. So, for example, we could help you facilitate a planning day, a dynamic session to energize and align the team and to get the year going on a high note. The changes in your world might be minor, like the producers of the Bond films adapting to fashion, or they could be existential. For example, the early films are outright sexist by today's standards. Later versions adapted somewhat, culminating in the spy boss M being a woman in a number of films, and a far more assertive and instrumental role for female protagonists in the most recent films. Without these changes, the Bond franchise would have died a certain death, unlike the seemingly immortal Mr. Bond. Or is he immortal? Will even James Bond make way for, say, Jane Bond?